reaching for an icon. Who is there to help? And who is there to cry on? Wanna fix it all, wanna fix it all. There's a cloud inside my crystal ball, heading for the downfall. Lemons for lemonade. Whole world in retrograde. Curse the universe for the dirt, for the pain. Oh, if I can't curse the universe, then who's left to blame? Then who's to blame? Check the messages, crawling through the subtext, screaming at the sky. Shake my fist, yeah. Lately I'm so sad. Why are you so mad? Wish that I were mystic, yeah. Scared we can't fix this. Lemons for lemonade. Whole world in retrograde. Curse the universe for the dirt, for the pain. Oh, if I can't curse the universe, then who's left to blame? Then who's to blame? Who is there to help? And who is there to cry on? And who's to blame? Curse the universe for the dirt, for the pain. Oh, if I can't curse the universe, then who's left to blame? Then who's to blame? Then who's to blame?
Welcome to Ska Talk with Skagazine. I am Jess, and I am here with my co-hosts, Eric and Janice.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys, how are you?
I am fabulous. How are you, Jess?
I'm wonderful. It's getting closer to the
Excellent.
weekend, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, what do you have going on this weekend?
Actually, it's kind of a break weekend for me. No shows, believe it or not.
Ooh.
I was supposed to go to one Sunday, but I think I'm skipping it, and we're not going to talk about that.
No, instead you'll be watching the 2:30 live stream, right?
Yes. Speaking of
Awesome.
2:30, do you want to introduce our guest today, Eric?
That was going to be my segue. You may have ruined it for me, but that's okay.
Well, sorry.
Speaking of which, today we have Tara from 2:30 with us. How is it going, Tara?
Hi, it's going great. I'm happy to be here.
Let's see. Hey, let's start with something, just something that's a personal celebration for you. So something in your life, or a mom brag or a husband brag, just something awesome that has been going on with you guys lately. What are you celebrating this month?
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, I've had some time off from touring, so it's kind of nice to just be like home with my family. And it's December, so there's lots of stuff going on. My kids are in Scouts and Girl Scouts. I'm my daughter's Girl Scout troop leader, and I just have been having so much fun hanging out with them. And my daughter had her first sleepover. And this is so weird. I'm like telling everybody this. My daughter had her first sleepover ever, and that felt like a triumph for me because she's been asking me for like over a year, and I survived. You know what I mean? Because they had like a competition where they were like, it was her and two other girls, and they were like, we're gonna pull an all-nighter. And I was like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? And every time one fell asleep, they would just like shake the other person awake. And I was like, this is too much. This is enough. But no, that's my small triumph. Just being around my kids and my husband for a little while, and everyone's happy. And that's been great. I'm so thankful for that.
Tell us a little bit about your family. How many kids do you have? How old are they?
I
What do
have
you
2 kids. Yeah, I have 2 kids. My daughter is 8, she'll be 9 next month, and my son is 6. And yeah, they're like in 3rd grade and kindergarten, and so they keep me super busy when I'm not doing band stuff. And at this age, they still think it's cool that I'm cool that I'm in a band. And all their friends listen to my music, and they stop me at school, and they sing my songs back to me,
Yes.
and they talk to me about my music videos. So it's fun. I get to be like a little celebrity at school, and like I said, so far my kids are into that. So I'll take it as long as it lasts.
I hope they continue to be into that for you. So,
Yeah, me too, me too.
what did you do before 2:30?
Well, Half Past Two has been a band for most of my life, so there was really nothing I did before Half Past Two. Half Past Two is going on 19 years old. So we started this band in high school. They started for a talent show like our senior year. It wasn't called Half Past Two yet, but we didn't decide to make it like a real full-fledged band until 2006. And so what did I do before Half Past Two?
Or while you were
I
doing
went to
2:30?
school, yes. And while I was in Half Past Two, I did lots of different things. I worked retail. I was on the show Yo Gabba Gabba for like 3 years, which is like a children's show. And I worked at Disneyland. I was a character at Disneyland. Um, yeah, I never had like a cool big person job. And then I became a mom. So I was like, I went to school and stuff like that too.
Are you sure about that? Because I feel like a cool job would be being on Yo Gabba Gabba or working at Disneyland.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it sounds so foolish, right? To like tell people that. That's all. It's like um when I'm in a school setting and people ask me that question, like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" or like tell us some stuff about your past. It feels weird to tell them those sorts of things because they're just like, huh? Like you don't just run into people like that normally. So it's hard to it's hard to talk about because then people don't know where to go after that.
'Cause they're jealous that you had more fun than them, really,
Right?
other than like doing a spreadsheet at a desk.
Maybe. Yeah, I always feel like so out of place because a lot of like even the moms in my Girl Scout troop, they're like doctors and lawyers and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm in a ska band and I've been in this band my like half of my life. So, but it's great, I guess I wouldn't trade it in for anything.
Sonny, one of our listeners, wanted to know, if not ska, what? So if you had not been in 2:30, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I've asked myself that question before because like I've tried to like not do music and it really left like a big void for me. But if I wasn't in Half Past Two, I'd probably still be making some kind of music. Um that's always sort of been my dream and aspiration. When I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna be a rock star. Like that's what I said. There, there's artwork from like, 3rd, 4th grade saying that. But if it wasn't music, I have a computer science degree, so maybe I would be programming or something. Um, Probably something like that. I know that sounds really uninteresting, but I did enjoy that when I was in school. So
We are all very happy that you chose ska for a living, let me tell you. So thank
me
you.
too.
And you said that so you knew from a very young age music is what you wanted to do. Who were some of
Yes.
those first musical loves that you had? Who did you listen to and admire back in those early days?
Well, I mean, that was sort of the beginning of my music stuff was all ska stuff because I'm from Orange County, and when I was in middle school, it was the late 90s, and that's when everything was kind of popping off with third wave. So I listened to a lot of Save Ferris and Real Big Fish and No Doubt and Dance Hall Crashers and bands like that when I was like in middle school. And that's kind of when I wanted to be in a band, because when I was 12 I was like going to ska shows with, well, she was my aunt, but she was only a few years older than me, so she was like my big sister, and she would take me to shows. My very first show was they were called the Pharmaceutical Bandits back then, but now they're called the RX Bandits. But they went to my high school, so they were like in high school and I was in middle school, and I was like going to their shows, you know what I mean? So those are like my early musical influences, because that's around the time when people start listening to their own music, you know what I mean? You're not listening to your parents' music anymore. So those are the bands that sort of like inspired me to want to be a musician. And then in high school I listened to a lot of like early indie emo sort of stuff. So I didn't really have a lot of female music influence, I feel like, in high school. Everybody was listening to like Jimmy Eat World and like you know, anything on like Militia Group and stuff like that. But I still always loved singing. I did choir, all like show choir all throughout high school, and that's kind of how the guys found me when it came to like doing starting 2:30, is they were all in marching band and I was in choir, and they were looking for a singer. So like, where did they look? They looked at the people that were in choir and stuff. So yeah, that's how I got my start, I guess.
So give us a little like a history lesson on Half Past Two.
Okay, yeah. So in 2004, all the guys in the band, well, the people that started 2:30 formed for like a talent show, and they were called King Otter Pop and the Slush Tones. And it was so many horns. There were so many horns in the band. It was like a headache. But everyone was friends, and like you don't just like tell your friend like, nope, we're only having 3 horns. No, you got to have like 8, you know? So they formed that, and they just played like casually behind the, like at lunch behind the Performing Arts Center at our school. Because our school used to be like a magnet for performing arts. It was called OSHA, Orange County School for the Performing Arts. So like, and a lot of ska music came out of our high school. Like Aaron and Scott from Real Big Fish went to my high school, and Monique went to my high school, like way before me. The guys from RX Bandits went to my high school, and 2:30 went to my high school. So in 2006 is when the band was kind of like, okay, let's be like a real band, let's play shows and everything. So my sister told me that they were looking for a singer because she still hung out with all those people. And I tried out in Max's mom's living room. I sang Open the Gate Up by No Doubt.
Nice.
And that is, and then, you know, that's when they told me, you're in the band. And then we've been a band ever since. I mean, not everybody in the band, like we've all left at some point, which just proves that 2:30 is kind of its own living, breathing entity. Even I was not in the band for like 2 years. But yeah, we just like have been plugging along for the last 18, almost 19 years. And back then it was kind of like the ska dark ages, where there wasn't a lot of like things happening in ska music, and ska was still sort of like a dirty word in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. But lately, and I would say the last 5 years, you know, there's like a lot of new fans, and the old fans, they stuck around, you know. But with all the new people that have come into the genre and like new listeners, I've noticed that they're so young that they don't know that ska was not uncool at some point. They're always like, why is it funny to like ska? I don't get it, you know? So that's really been nice.
That is awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Something else out curious, and I'm going to rabbit trail for a minute. Sorry, Jess. We had talked about women in ska, and I know we had a Root Grow review on here not too long ago. And part of their mission is they said, you know, that there's so much talent and so much talent, in the ska world with women, but women seem to typically be kind of off to the side of the stage or towards the back. Obviously, with yourself and even with Catbite, it's slightly different. Do you find that there's obstacles for women in the music industry in
Um,
general?
yeah, of course. In the beginning, well, even now, but like back when we started, um, there wasn't a lot of ska music being played in that part of the 2000s. And then being like a woman in like punk or ska punk or whatever, um, it's just like I felt like a lot of people didn't take us seriously. And I've had lots of other problems too. Like I've been harassed, I've been stalked, I've been, like I said, not taken seriously. And I think there's also a lot of criticism where like I don't see people judging my male contemporaries like for their voice or the way they dress or the way they look. I get that tenfold. Or if I even like if I speak out and say that I don't like something, you can be labeled like a diva or like you get labeled all these things, and it never really made sense to me. Um and also I'm half Filipino, and I grew up in like a very white affluent like neighborhood or whatever. And in music and in life, like people always told me that I wasn't passing, you know what I mean? So there's just so many things. But now lately, like you said, with Catbite, with Rude Girl Review, um Stop the Presses is a good example because their band is like, half uh like femme
Yeah.
people. My band has a lot of femme people in the band. Um I see it a lot more. And it feels good, because it feels safe. It feels a lot more safe. It's like a safe space. And I think ska holds that space now um for people like us like that.
Awesome. And I think one of our goals going into 25 and start of it is to try to keep a balance of men and women on our podcast and not to be heavy one way or the other. So that's a goal that we have this year.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. All different kinds of people. It's important to have everybody on. So, yeah.
So you've made it clear on how important it is for all fans to have access to your music, as far as different ages, people with disabilities. What challenges do you see for people to have access or even to have at shows for people who may fall into other categories?
Right. Personally, my daughter is disabled and she uses a wheelchair. So when she got old enough to go to shows of any kind, not just mine, I was noticing just a lot of inaccessibility at venues and stuff. Or even if they said that they were accessible, there were things that were not accessible. That's like anything in our life, honestly. But I feel like it's important that if I have any platform at all, that I am like sort of shining light on that. So when I go to venues now, I I always look on the website to check to see that they even list any of their accessibility, and if they don't, I do make a point to call the venue and like tell them that this is really important and this is why people need this on the website because people want to go to shows. And then when I do go to the shows, I do like to look for things like, can people just get in the front door? You know, um, is there an area for people, with any sort of disability to watch or view, and I like to write everything down. I also like to check, are the restrooms accessible? Are they all gender? Do they have a lock on the door? Just all those sorts of things. Because I do listen to other people too, and they tell me like these are the things I wish I knew before I decided to go to a show. And as far as like I think that shows should be all ages because, like I said, I got started listening to live music when I was 12. I was going to, like punk shows and stuff. And um I just think it's important that, if you want to go with your family member or with your group of friends, that that you're able to go. And I don't really think it needs to be centered around, you know, who's going to buy drinks at the bar. It's kind of just like who's going to be having fun at the shows. And yeah, I want us to create safe spaces for people. And I just know personally that when I was growing up, I felt the most included and like myself when I went to shows and like with the people that I met at those shows and stuff like that. Because some people have organized sports, they have, art or wherever they find their group of friends. I just happened to find mine, at a show. So that's why I think it's important
I'm
for
so
those sorts
glad you brought that up because I was going to get into children and all age shows next. I have an 8-year-old son, Ox. I know you've met him in the past.
Yes.
He loves the scene and he loves shows, and there's so many shows he can't go to with us because they're not all ages. And on one hand, it's nice to like have a night out and do something without him and send him to grandma's house. But seeing how much he loves this, and I want to promote him to continue on with the scene, and he plays music, I feel like it's really important that they have access to it.
Yeah.
So
And I get what you're saying. Like it is nice to like not to like have that night off and stuff, but I just think it'd be great that people like have the option to go, especially to shows where like younger people are playing. My drummer is only 19.
no, that was another thing I want to talk about. Savannah is amazing.
Yes.
I want to bring her on the show at some point, honestly, because I admire her.
Yeah, you should. She's great to talk to, and she's been with us since she was 16, but like she's still not 21, So it's like it's so funny when we play shows that are like not 21 and over, and they won't let her just like they'll let her play sometimes, but they won't let her stay inside. I'm like, so you want her to hang out in the alley instead of be inside like with like
Yes.
I'm like, she's not gonna drink. This is
That's
not how
insane.
Savannah is. Like, yeah, it just doesn't seem right. But that's how it is sometimes.
It's very bizarre.
Yes.
What is your message to the younger generation out there
About music or just in
about
general?
music and just keeping this alive? Because at some point we're all going to be old fuddy-duddies, and
I'm on the way already.
I say, why are you looking at me, Jess? Why are you-
I did not look at you, Eric.
Nobody's looking at you, Eric. Okay. No, I think my message is just to have fun with it. And if ska music inspires you, then play it. Like you don't have to play it for 19 years. There's so many bands that start off as like a ska band and then like venture away from it or whatever, but um I tried not to play ska music for 2 years like when I wasn't in the band, and let me tell you, I ran back to ska because it just wasn't the same. There's so much fun to be had because there's a message to a lot of ska music, but also like there's kind of a lot of abandon in ska music. Some people listen to ska music just because like they think there's like like a silliness and a fun to it. But then at the same time, like I said, there's always some sort of like message too in the ska music. Because it started like as like an anti-racist like working class like music for those like for people that are just like us, just like you and me, and I think that for young people they should just go to a ska show and you'll see. I don't know what else to say. Like that's kind of how I fell in love with ska. Is like I went to a ska show and I saw what was going on, what was happening, and how everyone was treating each other, and I was hooked. So yeah, I think no matter what, they're gonna keep ska alive. Also, don't listen to like the haters, because a lot of like younger people want to make ska music and they want to like make it their way, but then you know there's always those gatekeepers that are like, that's not ska, that's not ska, and I'm like, let the kids play, okay? It's music. We're having fun with it. So
That's great. I like how you talked about how ska is fun and uplifting and a great time, but there is a message. And I feel like your latest album, congratulations on it, by the way, because it's
thank you.
such a good
It
album,
is amazing.
is proof in the pudding of that. I feel like there was a big difference between your old music versus this new album. Not that it all wasn't great, but there was kind of like a breakthrough there. And congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. It was hard.
We're really excited that we get to wrap up 2024 with you because it's been such a big year for you. You put this album out, you signed with Bad Time. We've been watching you. I think you celebrated like 10K followers. You're hitting these big festivals all around the country. And how does it feel to reach your goals?
It's been great. It's really funny because the only reason we're doing all this is because I literally hit my like lowest, where a few years ago something happened in our band, and a bunch of people, like, we had like a mass like exodus where like more than half of the band like quit, and it really just like, it kind of broke my heart, and I got really depressed, and I told everybody like, I think we have to hang up the hat. I think like I have to quit. And the guys were like, the people that were left were like, well, we don't want, we don't really think you want that, and we don't want that. And is there any way we can get you to stay? And they were like, just write everything down that you want to do. And I was like, okay. So I wrote everything down I wanted to do, and then they literally like they helped me do it. It was so crazy. I wanted to release a new album. I wanted it to be produced by Reade Wolcott from We Are the Union. I wanted to sign to Bad Time. I wanted to I wanted to tour on the album. And we literally did all of those things this year. And so how does it feel? It feels great. It feels like we can do anything. And writing with Reade, like you said, it was really weird and hard because I am just naturally like a glass half full sort of person, and I've always written my music that way. But Reade was like, I know you and you can get pissed off. So like, why don't you ever write songs like that? And I'm like, I just don't think people like want that from me. They want me to just be the person that they know. And Reed said, there's no reason why you can't have both. So yeah, it was kind of an angry 2:30 album, but it was so well received, and it really changed my mind, I guess, about those sorts of reservations, and I'm happy we did it, and we're gonna keep doing it that way. Reed said it has to be that way now. So
I think it's really good to surprise people like that and show them different elements of yourself.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was really surprised by the response, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the songs were super personal to me, to the point where like we would be practicing the songs, and Talk Is Killing Me, that the song, everybody loves to play it, but they know that like it like churns my stomach, and like I cried for months like practicing it with everybody. But the joke was just like, everybody would be like, I love this song, I love playing it, and I was just like, ugh, in the corner, like I try to meditate and be like, it's cathartic, like just let it go. um and people like had told me after the fact, like, this is what this means to me and stuff like that, so that felt really good. And that's the reason to do it, I guess.
It's true. It's good to evoke all kinds of emotions. And that way, when somebody's having a good day, they have this song. When somebody's having a bad day, they have this song. I
Yeah,
have a
and
playlist for all moods. So
that's that's important too. And I think too that we still Reade really kept like the like pop sensibilities and stuff that we have as
Mhm.
Half Past Two, and like so even though the tone sort of changed, like we still didn't, it still sounded like us, you know. So that was important to us, and she really kept on that. So
Personally, this was one of my favorite albums of the year, so I thought it was an amazing album.
Eric,
That was
thank you.
How long did it take you to work on the album? How long was it in the making?
It took a while actually. It was over a year, probably more close to a year and a half, like writing and getting everything out. Because like I said, we lost so many people in our band. We were like looking for people to do it. Like Savannah didn't even play on this album. The drummer on this album is Rylan Steen, who was Real Big Fish's drummer. Because he shares a studio with us, and so he was there. We were like, we really need some drums, and he's like, I'd love to. So it took a while because of that, just like trying to figure out who was going to be able to play. And like I said, my band felt like we were on a time crunch because they didn't want to lose me. They were just like, we got to get this done and we got to get it out. And it needs to be good because, you know, I still was like 1 foot out the door, like I could go at any minute. Yeah, so it took probably like a year and a half for it to all be done. And then it was so scary to like email it off to Mike at bad time and be like, hey, do you think you want to put out this record? And we wrote like this really long message, and me and Max rehearsed everything. We like had a phone call. We're like, this is what we're gonna do. Here's the email. We're gonna send it to Mike. We're gonna write a casual text and all this stuff, and we expect to hear back in like a week, 2 weeks. He had it for like 3 or 4 hours and was like, yeah, let's do this thing. It's a no-brainer. And I was like,
Yay!
yay!
Awesome.
I know, that was great. I really told myself, I'm like, you're gonna be waiting. You're gonna wait, and that's okay. But no, I didn't have to wait. So that was the best feeling ever.
That's very cool. And you had a lot of great featured guests on this one too.
Oh yeah. We had Scott on there. That was really fun. Yeah. It was cool to get Scott to do it, Scott K, because Reade, it was so funny. Reade was like, what do you think about making this song a duet? And I was like, I don't know, like who would it be? And Reade said, who's the Bon Iver of ska? And I'm like, geez, I don't know. Like, who's the Bon Iver of ska? And we thought maybe Vince from Suburban Legends because like we're friends and stuff like that. But no, all of a sudden I was like, no, it has to be Scott K. Like it has to be Scott K. And so yeah, we toured with Real Big Fish like back in our baby band days, and we all live in the same area and stuff. So it wasn't hard really to like get in contact with Scott, but he was fun to have at the studio. He's such a jokester and he is a great musician. So he had lots of good ideas. That was cool to like watch his brain work.
This is your brain. This is your brain on ska. This is your brain. This is your brain on ska.
We're about to get into Brain on Ska, where each of us have chosen a favorite track from your new album, and we would like to hear the inspiration behind it.
Oh, okay. This is fun. I like this. Okay.
I actually chose two because I felt like it.
And she
It's your show, Jess, and you can do whatever you want.
Right.
wrote the outline, so she gets to put in two. I guess.
Yes, you want to go first?
Absolutely. And I told Jess that this totally depended on the day she asked me, but today she asked me, and I said my favorite was Curse the Universe. So tell us a little bit about that one.
Okay, actually, Curse ended up being my favorite. It wasn't always my favorite, but I sort of wrote it because, you know, I often want to, I think a lot of us try get in these situations, and it's really hard to like turn the mirror and like look at yourself and say like, I am the problem, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a song about like where you place blame and like how you place blame on things, um and trying to, like figure out if you're strong enough to like be the solution to whatever the problem is. And I don't think there was very anything like super specific, except that, like I said, when we were writing this album, I was really depressed. I was in therapy, and my therapist had me going through like all this, like, you know how they do that where they're like, let's talk about your childhood. I'm like, oh, no. I don't want to do that. I really don't really want to do that. So it's like, I did spend a lot of time going like, I have this problem, and like, I really do blame this situation in my distant past, and I'm a horoscope girly, I'm an astrological girly, and I do that just like the song says. I do like look at my horoscope and I look where the planets are in the sky, and I go like, oh, this is why this is happening. It's not me, it's Mercury in retrograde.
Yep.
Yep. Because sometimes that's easier than saying like, it's me. And I think that's okay too, like sometimes we need to divert to other things and like take a break from being so hard on ourselves. So,
Mhm.
yep, that's where it came from. I also just really wanted to write like a funny, like astrological song, because me and my friend Ray are like super, like we meet people and we're like, what's your big three?
Which
You know your birth? Do you know your birth time? People are like, what's wrong with you? What kind of question is that? We do it on tour like all the time. We've broken down like everybody in the band. And then when they do something, we're like, oh, that's because you're a Virgo. You know what I mean? We do that to people.
That is so
So
funny. My son just had to select a topic for a research project for school. He's in 3rd grade, and he selected astrological signs of the modern universe, or modern zodiac, I'm sorry. And apparently they have changed, and there's 13 instead of
It's a
12.
bonus one now, yeah.
yeah, I am the bonus one actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I looked it up and I was like, wait, if there's a 13th one, then that is me. But I do really feel like I match my chart like very well. So I don't know if I want to jump into this new astrological sign. I don't
What
know.
was your original one?
I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius, Sun, Libra rising, Leo, Moon. And yeah. If you know anything about those signs, I feel like
Please,
I'd say for those of us who don't know anything, why do you why is that your perfect sign?
well, Sagittarius, like we're very fun loving and chaotic, and we do anything for the bit. Like we really do. And then Libras, like they want there to be balance, even if even like to a fault. Like it's not real balance. It's like if something can be, if you have to sacrifice something to make the other thing work, like that's what you're gonna do, type of thing. Like you try and balance. I do that in my band all the time, where like I try and make everybody think that like they're making a decision, but like they never really had that choice. You know what I'm saying? And then Leos, we love ourselves. We just really do. And we like things to be so pretty, and we love to be praised. Like I don't like Leos but here I am. You know what I mean? Like I'm the lead singer of my band, and I do kind of stick out. I mean, I've got purple hair and all that. I mean, nothing against purple hair, Janice. I'm not saying that's like.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
But yeah, so Curse the Universe, that's kind of it. And then with the music video, we got to play around with that, like all of that part too, just like making things kind of spooky and like and fun and stuff. So
All the videos are really fun, I will say.
Oh, I love them. I love them.
thanks. Thank you so much. Ray and I we worked really hard on like the story. Because if you watch them in a certain order, like there's like a little tiny thread that goes through all of them. So but we like stuff like that.
Ooh, which
We-
order do we have to watch them in now? This could be exclusive for
I
us.
think you just have to watch them in the order that they were released. Yeah, if you watch and it's kind of a circle actually. So yeah, I mean if you start at Dominoes and then you watch Talk and then you watch Curse, there's like a little tiny like thread throughout the throughout all three.
My favorite was Barrier for Entry. So tell us a little bit about that song. I don't know if it's just because A, it's a great song, but B, it really started off that album, and 15 seconds into that song, like I was hooked on this album. So tell us about that one.
I wrote that song for my daughter, sort of. I mean I wrote Shine for her too, but this was like sort of an angrier thing. It's really about like being anti-ableist and just like living in an ableist society, where like in general we value people that are, you know, don't have disabilities and stuff like that more than people with disabilities for no reason. And so I talked about it so much like in writing sessions that Reade and Max were like, we should write a song about this. And I was like, it was hard for me to do it because I, as a non-disabled person, I didn't want to think that I knew better than, you know, somebody with a disability. But I do think it's important to be a strong ally for people in all those sort of marginalized communities, you know. And since I was so passionate about this specific topic, I just sort of like took a stab at it. And that's why in the song it says like, you know, society is built this way because you know, my daughter half the time can't even walk down, like we can't even go down the sidewalk without there being like some sort of issue. I'm constantly fighting with the school district for services for her, the government, you know, venues because she wants to go to a show. So it was just sort of my way of like making people sort of fired up for the same thing. Because disability is something that like spans every, you know, race, gender, every country in the world, and anybody could become disabled at literally any second of your day. And then you're going to see how hard it is to live in America, in the world, like, and just because either you were born that way or something happened to you, you know. So that was sort of like my mission with Barrier for Entry, was just that like there are barriers to do anything for certain people. And yeah, and I just think it's important that all of us are aware of those things, because I don't think it should be the responsibility of the person, like of all people with disabilities, to champion like these sorts of things for themselves. I think we all can take a part in it, because honestly, like when you make something accessible, it's better for everybody. So that's where that sort of came from. Also, I was really inspired by the quote, and it's like in the song. Oh my gosh, I'm like forgetting who she's like they're like a famous abolitionist, but they say if something can't be fixed, then what can we build instead? That's like it, you know, it just to inspire people to think that like things are broken, but like there's a better way, and we just need to like take a step back and do that together to fix those sorts of things.
I had a conversation with somebody recently who just loves music, like we all do, right? And and he's in a wheelchair, so he's planning on coming to a show. And for me, I just get in my car and I show up and I go and I hopefully get my spot. You know what I mean? And for him,
Yeah.
it's like, have you been here? Am I going to get through the door? Are there steps? Can I go to the bathroom? Like,
Yep.
is there going to be a spot for me once I get inside? And there's things that we take, as somebody who doesn't have a disability, we take it for granted. Like, hey, I can
Right.
show up and get in. And I think you're right. There should be access for everybody. Like people.
Yeah, because everybody wants to go. You know what I mean? That's not a question. People want to go. But yeah, that's why, like I said, it's like important to me that websites have all the information just on their website, because I spend a lot of time calling venues, not just music venues, restaurants, movie theaters, all those sorts of things, before I go anywhere with my daughter, because nothing is worse than having a 8-9-year-old that's so excited to go someplace, and then we get there and like she can't, like the venue is not accessible for her to do that thing. It's heartbreaking, you know? So I do try and like figure those things out before we go do anything. But like I said, if these venues just thought about that, like, as part of their business model, then there wouldn't be an issue for literally anybody to go do these things. There's a venue here in LA called the Troubadour, and I went there last week, actually, or a week and a half ago, and I walked in, and there was, right next to the stage, there was a blue space, like a parking space right up next to the thing, and it was like on the floor, and I was like looking at it going like, oh my god, they can do this, they can do this, and like this man came in, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was like jaw on the floor too, and him and I were just like standing there going like, can you believe this? And he's like, when I walked in the door, they said, if you need an accessible bathroom, it's right over there, this and this, these are the places, all this stuff. And they told him right there at the door. And I was like, oh my gosh, they did it. They did it. I wanted to like find the manager and hug them. You know what I mean? So it's not that venues can't do it. They're just not doing it. So yeah.
Awesome.
So
What
we
is-
have to hold them accountable.
Yes,
Yeah.
please hold venues
Mhm.
accountable. Like when I always say that at shows, I'm like, if you came in the door and you noticed something like that, like tell the venue about it. Like they need to know. And the more people bring that stuff up, the more likely it is that it's going to change or get fixed. I won't play, like we won't headline a venue that's not accessible. It happened last year in Mesa, Arizona, where like I had the show moved to the coffee shop next door because they had us in what's called the underground at Mesa, at the Nile in Mesa, Arizona. And it's like, so it made me mad because on the stairs going up and down into this like hole in the ground, the underground, it says like no racism, no homophobia, all this stuff. And I was like, ableism's cool though, like, because it's not even ventilated down there. I'm like, people that like have some sort of respiratory issue could not be in this place down here. So I had it moved up to the cafe, but then like that day they moved us back down into the underground, and I was so mad. I was like, I don't do this. I don't allow this. This is not something I allow, because it's not fair. Like you said, Eric, like people they want to go. Like they shouldn't have to worry about that stuff.
I agree.
It's a great message. We need more people like you, Tara.
I can you tell I'm so fired up. I'm like, and we need to fix this. Like, it can be fixed.
It's true though. I mean,
but-
people should not literally have to worry about whether or not they can go to the bathroom somewhere.
yeah,
That's a
exactly.
be able to take a peek. Like it's
Yeah.
stupid.
It's not even just that. Like I said, some people don't feel safe to go to the bathroom, you know, and that's why I always include, like, I started recording like a story, like a reel or whatever, because there's not really like firsthand accounts of these venues and stuff. But like people want to know, like, can I go into an all gender bathroom that locks? Like a single use bathroom, like, would make me feel so comfortable. So I check for those things because that's like something that people want to know about too. And that's what I'm saying. I think that we just, if it's possible, I know a lot of these venues are old and that's not possible, but if it's possible, these things should be done and they should be listed. They should be where people can easily find this information so that people can go to these shows and feel comfortable. Like you said, going to the bathroom or getting a drink or going in the front door. A lot of venues say we're accessible, except we have a really small step to get in. I'm like, I don't care how small the step is. Some people can't do a small step, even if it's like this big. They can't do it. So like that's not accessible. Or they're like, oh, you can get in if you go through the kitchen. I'm like, if I have to go past a dumpster to get into
Yeah.
your venue, you're not accessible. Okay, like don't other like somebody because like you don't have the ability to get into your front door.
There's
Like
a venue near me, and I've seen they're accessible because they bring a bunch of people over and they try to lift people up in their wheelchair and get up the steps. I'm like, that's humiliating to have like
and
steps.
it's dangerous. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's like I said, that's very othering, and I don't think most people that use wheelchairs or mobility devices are excited to be lifted by a stranger to get into like a venue or a restaurant or anything like that. So they just want to go there and eat or watch music or something. So
I agree. Crazy, huh? You know?
yes, oh my gosh, it's groundbreaking. But yeah, barrier for entry. Thank you for bringing that up and letting me talk about that.
So, Jess, do you have any
Yeah,
favorite
I
songs in
do.
this album? Maybe a couple?
Maybe a couple. I remember when I first heard the album and Half Past Two is sharing it on their stories. Do you run the social media
I
for
do,
them?
yeah.
Okay,
That's
I wasn't sure. But you posted to the stories like what's your favorite track or something, and it was Never Saw Me for me. I love that track so much. And you were happy that it was that track. I don't know if you weren't getting a lot of people saying that, but you were like, I can't wait to tell Reade it was your favorite track. It's so good.
it's just so funny because we didn't think that anybody would like pick that song out. And I think that's why I was so excited because it was like I remember telling everybody that that was the most people mentioned that song. Like you were one
Oh,
of them, but like a lot of people were like, "Oh, I love Never Saw Me," and we were like, "What?" Like that's it. That's crazy because it's short and it's like very not doesn't like sound like us, right? And when we were writing it, there was just so many funny moments where Reade was like, I want you to channel like Sonic Boom 6 because you're going to be kind of like, you know, not rapping, but like you're like talk singing and it's like firm. And Reade was like, you know the cover of Limp Bizkit where the like the guy is like, you know, like pointing and also I'm like, uh-huh. And she was like, that's you, okay? Like, I'm like, what is happening here? I'm in Limp Bizkit now. But no, that song, the subject was kind of weird because, like I said, Reade was trying to make me write about all kinds of things from my past that were coming up in therapy. But a long time ago, when I was in this band, I had a stalker, and that's what the song was about. Is my stalker, and so it was really weird to like think about that again. I still occasionally this person will like pop up at a show and it will send me into like a panic attack, but like you know, everybody in my band always, they know, they have this, it's not a joke, but it's like a joke. They're like, if Tara goes missing or something, like it's this person, because this person has said such weird things, such creepy things in front of other people, and just, yeah, just followed me around, showed up at places that like I don't even know how that they knew I was there. So that's kind of what that song was about, was just like, please don't tell this person where I am. Like, don't bring me up to this person, because I was afraid, you know. But music is cathartic. So it kind of did like make me feel like I was like taking something back. So it was fun to write that song and kind of feel really powerful like singing it, because that's how Reade was like, I want you to like, you know, like really push it with this song. It's very like gritty for me, like for it, how I had to sing it and stuff.
Walking in the park after hours in the dark. Hey, feel your eyes every side all around me. Wish that I had gone the wrong way. Heart racing, pick up the pace, and if you see him, you never saw me. Whoa, you never saw me. Change my clothes, my address, and my phone, yeah. Still you follow me close like a shadow. Some boys don't like the word no. If you see him, you never saw me. Whoa, you never saw me. Found a space inside my head. My vision blurs, empire dread. Your voice calls after me. Tune out the noise, calling catastrophe. If you see him, you never saw me. Your voice calls after me. Tune out the noise, calling catastrophe. So if you see him, you never saw me.
And today, my favorite track, because you know it changes all the time, like Janice said earlier. You asked me today, this is my favorite track today, but I am really digging Isolated Days right now.
I'm so happy that one almost didn't make it on, because
Really?
yeah, I wrote that song during the pandemic, and I wrote it sort of about Adam Davis from Omnigone, because Adam, when I was going through all my thing, was a person that was in the background, because I was like trying to delete my social media. I was trying to like disappear off the face of the planet, and Adam would like call me and text me and be like, don't do this, friend. Like, you're too good for this. You don't need to do this. And so that song was just about like, because Adam lives hours away from me in San Francisco, you know, and it was just about having like really good friends that are not around you all the time, and to like hold on to those friends, and like, you know, what they're trying to say to you, and like listen to them and stuff like that. So it's a really short song, and some of the people in my band were really adamant about like, oh, like it's the weakest song on the album, so we don't need to keep it. Like it should just like not be on there. And I was like, no, I really want it on there. Like I was always fighting for it. I'm like, please, like I want to keep it on there. So I'm really glad that you like it.
No, I like the short songs apparently.
Well, all of our songs on this album are way shorter than we like normally write songs. It was so weird for us because that's just not how we normally write. But that's the beauty of working with a new producer. We've been working with the same producer all these years. And David Irish is amazing. He produces all of the Real Big Fish albums. Like he knows ska, okay, and he produces a lot of ska. But like we had just been with him for so long and we told him like we love you so much. This is nothing personal. We really want to just try something else. And so switching over to Reade was really funny because she was just like, that's why there's not a lot of intros to the song. Reade's like, no, you just gotta start. You just gotta go. You just gotta start these songs. And she kept saying like, people don't need long songs. They want short songs. We're like, okay. It was kind of stressful, but yeah, it's effective. I mean, the Kill Lincoln record is like, it's like this long. You know what I mean? It's just like
Also a great record.
Yes, a great record. Love that record. I can't wait to tour with them in
Oh, yeah.
March. Yeah.
All I've got, no, it's not a lot. To prop me up, I'm betting on luck. Send a message, video replay, empty holiday. We're close from far away. On and on we turn in circles. Idle talk, waste away the day. Time goes on, it all just feels the same. Are you missing out? On and on we turn in circles. Universal, isolated days. Find your friends, the genuine, the disconnected. Never let them go. You're already home.
That's what I wanted.
So
I'm curious, what is your favorite track on your last album? Do you have one like I can't choose? It's like choosing a child. How does that work?
yeah, well, I do really love Curse the Universe. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite at first, but it just grew and grew on me. And even though Talk is Killing Me, like I said, makes me absolutely mushy and like cry, it has a lot of meaning for me. And I think it's probably one of the best songs we've ever written as like a band. And I really like Lie to You because I just really like I don't know. There's something about Lie to You that like when it comes on after Barrier, it's I don't know, it just does something for me. I really like that song. I like all the like little talk tracks and stuff that Reade put on there. And it's like very much a ska song, you know. Like Barrier is not a ska song, but it had like a really powerful message that we wanted to like show everybody. We were kind of afraid to like start the record with not a ska song, but that's why we were like, okay, it's gonna go to Barrier, then we need to put like an obviously this is a ska song on there, and so that's why Lie to You is next. But yeah, those are probably like my 3 favorite. But like you said, it's really hard to choose. I thought Dream was kind of cool. I don't dream anymore because it was so like moody and like slow, and we wanted to write something that like reminded us of like Don't Speak, you know. And so that's why we're like, let's put this like kind of like reggae like slow song in the middle. But yeah, I think that those are like my favorite ones.
So, what are you listening to right now? When you get in your car and you hit whatever streaming you listen to or CDs or whatever, what's in top rotation for you right now?
I have really been into kind of like girly, like indie music. There's this band called Charlie Bliss that I got really into. They're not ska at all, but their latest album like is all about being in a band for a really long time, and like just all the experiences and stuff. And so like when I heard it, it just like I got sucked in because I'm like, that is how I feel. Like this is a very unique thing. I feel like a lot of people probably listen to it and like it, but like not a lot of people can listen to it and be like, that happens with me, you know? So I really I've been listening to that a lot. And then the other weird thing was they were coming through Orange County. They were coming through LA and Orange County. So I was like, oh my God, I have to see them. So me and Max went and saw them in a room that I have played, the Constellation Room. And I mean, we've sold out the Constellation Room. This room had like 30 people in it. And like, I thought this band was like huge. Like, I thought they were like massive. There was like 30 people in there. And they played full out. She had a really awesome outfit, all this stuff. But I was just like, it made me feel good. It probably didn't make them feel good, or they didn't show it. But I was just like, I do this. Like, I get in the van with my bandmates and I drive to like all these cities and I play to like 30 people gleefully because I'm with my friends and I'm like having a good time, and you play for the people that are there, you know what I mean? They're happy to be there. I was happy to be there. So anyway, that's a total side story. Charlie Bliss, I love them. And I'm a huge, huge Kylie Minogue fan, like a dumb, huge Kylie Minogue fan. I've seen her like 3 times in this last year.
Wow.
I spent a very pretty penny seeing her in Vegas for my birthday last year, and then I've seen her like a couple other times this year. I have tickets to see her again in May. But I'm always listening to Kylie Minogue like all the time. And then the other thing I'm listening to a lot is the band Scowl, because
I love Scowl.
I love Scowl.
So good.
I love Scowl. I saw them at Garden Amp. They were like opening for
Was it Drain?
no, they were opening for they're like a really old band, something like Lizard Wizard or something like. Anyway, they're I went for Scowl, and then it was funny because like we play at Garden Amp so often that like everybody there knows us, and the guy at the ticket box gave me and my friend Brent like, like a wristband, but we were on a list, so we were just like, okay, so we put it on, and then we were like looking around, we're like, I wonder what this wristband means, like, because I don't see a lot of people wearing this wristband. And then at the end of the show, we were like leaving, and the guy's like, oh, did you go backstage? And I was like, no, why would I have done that? He's like, I gave you all access. So I like ran to the back looking for Kat, and I like got a picture with her.
Nice.
And I was like, I love Scowl. I'm just like, I'm a geek for Scowl. I have so much Scowl merch. But yeah, I listen to a lot of Scowl, and I think I'm like coming into like my hardcore like era or whatever. We did that Suicide Machines cover, and
I
then
love
like,
it.
and then we did the Turnstile thing, and I'm like, never look back. No. I was like, I want to play with Scowl someday. And so yeah, those are like the things that I've been listening to recently, or like I listen to all the damn time. Like I said, Kylie Minogue. I know that's so weird, but like people get like that for like Madonna or Taylor Swift or whatever. Like Kylie Minogue, I have all of her records. I have like a little shrine to her in like my living room because I'm just like, oh, Kylie Minogue. I love her so much.
I don't know who it is. I think I
I know. Well, she's like an Australian pop star from like she's been like famous since like the 80s. But like I'm saying, that's why it's so weird, because I'm obsessed with her. Me and my best friend Pablo are like obsessed with her. We saw her, she was the headliner at Gay Pride this year. And so we got VIP and we saw her. Like I said, I spent so much money to see her in Vegas because it was like a really small, like intimate thing. So it was like a treat. I was like, gotta see her. And then yeah, I have tickets to see her at like crypto, I think at the crypto stadium in like May. I don't even know where it's at. I was just like, take my money. Take my money. Yeah. But those are like my big three right now. And I'm always looking for like female voices. It's like my mission to be doing that. But then also a lot of like my contemporaries. If you look through my Spotify, there's all this Kill Lincoln and Jer and Catbite and
There's a good question. Did you do your Spotify Wrapped this year?
I just did it because I was afraid to look because I have kids, so like they ruin everything. They ruin it. It's like I open it up and it's like, you know, minions singing like God knows what, you know. And my daughter likes these like creepy shows that are like, I don't know if anybody knows like Poppy's Playtime and like Rainbow Friends and stuff, and they all have their own music. Like this really creepy like the lyrics are kind of like, what am I letting my daughter listen to? But she loves it. So, you know, my Spotify's kind of messed up because of that. But yes, I did my Spotify Wrapped finally, like a couple days ago. And I did the one because I looked at the one for the band and I was like, it's always so weird to see how many people are listening to your music. And this year, the numbers jumped like way higher than they were even the year before. So, you know, all of us in the band were like looking at the numbers. I know it doesn't mean anything, but it does mean something to us because we're spending so much time and money and like blood, sweat, and tears on creating this music because we love to, but of course we want people to listen to it. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And you've been doing a lot of the bigger fests this year. We saw you at This Is Not Croydon Fest, and you were at Supernova, and you were at Fest in Florida. Did you do any other big festivals this year?
Festivals? No, I think that's it as far as festivals. We did like I mean we had some big shows. Like we played with Safe, well actually that was last year. That was last November. We opened for Safe Airs, which is like big here in Orange County because like this is where they're from. And then I think when we opened for the Aquabats, that was last year too. So no, mostly we just toured this year. Like it was scary because we don't tour. We really don't. This was like our first year really going for it. And we did like a Southwest tour where like we were the headliner, which is super scary for a band that does not tour, but we're always amazed that like there were people coming out. There were people like following along with like some of the dates on the tour where it was like, we're like, what are you doing here? Like we just drove like 5 hours and they're like, us too. Oh, okay. Like, that's cool. You know, we did like a Pacific Northwest tour. Oh, we played there's this like small like MIG fest in Portland, and it was scary because we Bad Cop was the headliner, and the day before they had to drop off because somebody in the band got COVID and they're like, surprise, you're the headliner now. And we're like, oh, cool. So it was just kind of sad because like, I mean, it was fun, but at the same time, you're going into it knowing that a lot of these people were like really stoked to see Bad Cop. It was on a farm, like a real farm, like you're literally on a farm. So these people were like going to the farm. They thought they were gonna see Bad Cop, and we're like, hi, we're gonna do the best we can. We promise a good show, you know. So and then oh yeah, then we did like at the beginning of the year we did the Northeast with like We Are the Union, and we played with the Palms and stuff like that. So that was fun.
Oh, that was on your This Is Not Croydon Fest run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. And like I said, everything's new to us. Touring is a completely new experience, and we have learned so much about each other. So, but all the festivals are really fun. I've always wanted to play Fest. I went to my first Fest in 2001, and I was just like, we have to do this. Like, we have to play. And while I was super sad that High Dive closed at the beginning of this year, which is where they have like the big ska day on Sunday, and we didn't get to play High Dive, which was like a bucket list thing for me.
Aw.
We did get to play the Civic Media Center thing in at Fest, which was like super small. It looked like it was like Ska Tiny Desk, honestly. You're just like playing amongst the books and stuff. But it was so cool because here we are, like we're nerds, and we don't like our self-esteem's like we don't have very high self-esteem. And so we were like, okay, we're gonna play this show. And while we were setting up, it was packed. But we had no idea that the line was like out around the block. Like, it was around the block, and people told us they waited like 15 minutes thinking that like people would leave so they can go in, and nobody could get in because it was packed. And even the guys from Kill Lincoln, like, they couldn't get in the front door, so they went around the back. And the whoever was like working the door, they were like, oh, you can't come in this way, and they're like, oh, we're in 2:30. May was like, yeah, I'm in 2:30, and they were just like, okay, let's just like let them in. They're like, that's the only way we could get in. So it did feel good, to sort of have that like experience at Fest, so it being our first Fest.
Actually, I had friends who could not get into that show who told me about it, or at least told me
Really?
not able to get into it. Yes.
Well, I hope that like they go to one of these other Florida shows that we're doing, and we get to like play for them, because while it's cool, it also makes me sad because I'm just like, I want to play for the people that want to see us,
So we have a segment we like to do on here that we call Skananigans, because no ska thing is complete without some kind of ska pun, right? So
Yes.
here's our question. We're curious if we could get either a crazy fan story over the years, or an odd or traumatic tour story, or one of each, kind of your choice.
Or just fun tour story. It doesn't have to be
Why
traumatic.
does it have no traumatic's better than fun?
That is something where I was like traumatized. I'm trying to think. I'm so bad at remembering these sorts of things. I do have this memory that I've been talking about a lot recently, because we're gonna be playing with Les and Jake, but like, I wasn't on this tour necessarily, but I was backstage because I used to be really good friends with Aaron's now ex-wife, Aaron Barrett's ex-wife, and we were seeing Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish, and I can't remember who else played that night, but I was on their tour bus, and I can't remember which one of them did this, but I was wearing this really expensive like Brixton like hat. And like, I just remember them walking by and like taking it off my head and putting it on. They're like, I like this hat. And then just like walked off into nowhere. And I was like, never saw my hat again.
Oh.
And so like, I saw them at their show in San Diego. I was backstage, and I was looking at all of them in the eye, trying to like stir my memory and like, who stole my hat? I was like, I'm really close to you guys right now, and I'm gonna figure this out. And I still don't know who it was, but like, there was that. Oh, but one of my very favorite stories, like, this isn't traumatic but amazing for me, was I was backstage at Warped Tour in Ventura, and hanging out with everybody in the Real Big Fish camp, and I was walking around with Aaron. There was something going on with one of his guitars. I think it got like stolen or something. But anyway, he was like, come with me. And I was like, okay. So we're walking around, and this girl runs up to us, and she's like, oh my gosh, can like with her disposable camera. She's like, "Oh my gosh, can I please have a picture with you? This is so cool." Like, blah 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 blah. And so I grab her camera and I'm like, I'm gonna take her picture with Aaron Barrett from Real Big Fish. And she's like, "No, I want a picture with you." And I was like, "Me?" And she was like, "Yeah, you're in 2:30, right?" And I'm like, this is like a long time ago too. Like we were like a super baby band. Like Real Big Fish had taken us on a couple tours. That could be the only reason I thought like that she would know who I was. But she was like, "Oh my gosh, my brother's gonna be so jealous," all stuff. So she like takes this picture of us together, and Aaron had to take the
That was
picture.
gonna be my question. Aaron
I
takes
Aaron
love
had to
it.
take the picture, and I was like, "Oh well." Afterward, I was like, "Okay, well, do you want a picture with him?" And she was like, "I guess." Like she didn't know who he was, and he actually was upset. He was like, "I can't believe that just happened." He's like, "Well, I made you." He was joking. He was just like, "I made you." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I felt really cool." I was like, "I feel super cool right now." But yeah, I can't think of any that's like my good fan story, I guess. And I can't really think of anything super traumatic. I know my bandmates are gonna listen to this later. They're gonna be like, "Well, what about this and this and this and this and this?" But I try not to remember those things. I told you I'm a glass half full person. Just I want things to happen to me and then like I want to move on from them. I don't want to be traumatized by them or they'll become a song or something like that. Um yeah, I'll probably think of something later and have to be like, "Oh, there was this one time," but no. Um, as far as like good fan experiences, I always cherish meeting young people that are like very moved by our music or tell us that we're their favorite band, and because that was me. I always see myself like in those people. We have a fan that like drove from Vegas to Mesa with her family. And it was a surprise. Like her family didn't tell her because they're like we're her favorite band. And she was just like in the front row, like knew all the words, like cried at certain times and stuff. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy that like people can feel this way about us. And
I
yeah.
definitely cried at Croydon Fest.
No!
You guys made me cry at This Is Not Great. Yes.
Oh. Hopefully good, happy
That was
tears, whatever.
Yes, it was the first time I saw you guys, and I was just so excited and overwhelmed, and it was phenomenal.
I love that, because I do that. That's why I'm saying I think it's like it's so special. Like I get excited too to like see music that I love like live and up close, So thank you. That's so special. Thanks for telling me that.
I have a favorite Tara moment. We were at the Kill Lincoln birthday bash in Asbury Park.
Oh, that was almost a year ago. Yep.
Yeah, it was. You were there just attending and watching, and we stood next to you in front of the stage, and the confetti started coming down, and you gathered it up to give it to Ox. And I was like, oh, she's such a mom and such a sweetheart. And I just loved that moment. It was so cute.
Yeah, well, I saw him like on the ground trying to collect it. And I'm like, I got a pile right here. You know what I mean? Yeah, I knew he was gonna have fun with it. I mean,
He did. I don't know if he remembers it, but I do, and I always will. It was a great
yeah, that show was really fun too. It was
fun
funny
show.
because it was in that bowling alley, and I
Mhm.
kept saying, "Oh, this is so cool," but like everybody that was from around there, like they would hear me say that, and they're like, "It's not cool. This place used to be way cooler.
No, it
Yeah.
is.
It used to be so much." I'm like, "Just let me have my moment." I'm
Everybody's
thinking.
so divided on that place. It drives me crazy.
It was just funny because like anytime I open my mouth, I'm like, "Oh, this is pretty good." No, it's not. It's not cool. It used to be cool. I'm like,
I thought it was cool. It was my
"Oh,
first
okay."
time there though, because
Yeah.
I'm from Philly, not Jersey.
Yeah.
And I
It-
usually go to shows in Philly, but now I venture out to like other places for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm from California. I only went because my friend Ray like shoots everybody's photos, right? And Ray loves Kill Lincoln and was like, I've never seen them and not had to work. and they were like, would it be crazy if we just went to like celebrate this like birthday celebration? And I was like, let's just go. Like, whatever, let's go. So we just went. We were just spectators. We're little taters, you know? And it was really, really fun. Just to like be there and not have to work, I guess, you know? So that was cool. And then getting to like meet people and stuff too. Like y'all.
Yeah, that was a really fun night. I think there was bad weather or something, but we made it somehow.
Yes, there was, because Ray and I had to run from the venue to our hotel, which was like across that park, that big scary hotel that's like a historical monument or something. Like Johnny Cash owned it or something at some point. And like yeah, we ran through the rain. We're from California. We don't know anything about weather. We know nothing about weather. And we're just like, put your head down and run. So that's what we did.
We were looking to stay overnight because like we didn't plan on it. We're just like, we'll drive home. It's like an hour and a half. We'll be fine. And the hotels were so expensive. We're like, all right, we're driving home. And we made it home safe, thankfully.
Yes, thankfully. One thing I learned about the East Coast is like there be so many toll roads.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's toll roads. Like, you guys have so many toll roads. I didn't understand that at all.
Little in California.
It's like you got to pay to get in everywhere. You got to pay to get out of everywhere. It's
I know everyone's like, California is so expensive. I'm like, yeah, but I'm confused. Like, I went to the East Coast and I constantly felt I was confused the entire. I didn't know what state I was in half the time. I was like,
That's true.
in California, you drive for hours, you're in the same place. And you like, you're on the East Coast, you drive for a couple hours, you've passed through like 5 different states. I'm like, I don't even know where I am right now.
it's very true.
Yes. But it's been fun. It's been fun getting out and like seeing all these new places and like meeting all these new people. Like when we went to the Southwest, we don't know anything about humidity in California. Oh my gosh. We were like, people live like this. They choose to they live here.
That's on purpose.
They build their whole lives in this place where like a drop of sweat comes out of your head and you're gonna be wet for the rest of the day. But like they were like, oh yeah, we just take our trash out early in the morning and do our grocery shopping early in the morning, and then we just don't like we stay inside for the rest of the day. I'm like, what? Like a lizard. Like you know how like they say in the desert, like nothing comes out during the day, everything happens at night. So I was just like, that sounds like you're living in Texas in the desert somewhere. So, but like I said, it was an interesting experience. I've never played like that before, where you're just like 2 songs in, you're like,
That sounds pleasant.
Yeah, it was great. It was so great. I mean, I can't wait to go back, honestly. But good times, yeah. Every place has been so different and interesting. We have not yet played in the snow, so we'll see about that.
Well, if you want to come to Michigan this week.
Is it snowing in Michigan this week?
It is. So we could arrange that for you.
I bet I know some that would love to play with Half Past Two.
Playing in the Midwest was so fun. I want to go back so bad. Everyone was so nice. Oh my gosh, the Midwest was great. We've only done it one time.
When was
So
You played April, right? April, March last year. You played with Mustard Plug, if I remember.
yeah, it was last year. Yeah. I mean, this year's almost over, so that's why it feels so long ago. But yeah, my poster from that tour is back
There it is.
there. Yeah, it's back there. It was like their record release
Yeah.
stuff. So that's why it was really fun too, because everyone was coming out to like, it was like the record release and everything.
I know the Michigan show was sold out.
Yeah, but that was like our first like away from home like tour. We had flown out to Supernova before, and that's where we kind of caught the like we want to travel bug. And then yeah, when Mustard Plug asked us to do that tour, that was like the first time we'd actually been on a tour off the West Coast, and we were like, we want to do this. And yeah, and then this year we really hit it hard. This next year we're gonna hit it even harder. And like my husband's like, okay, like I got this, because we have our two our two kids and like all their stuff, but he says he's ready. He's ready for this. He used to be a professional snowboarder, so he feels like he understands like this weird hustle and like doing something that maybe other people don't completely understand. But I really couldn't do this without a supportive partner, and my family also is like a huge support. So
That's awesome. It's great that
yeah.
you have that network,
Yeah, it's important.
that they let us borrow you sometimes. So.
Here, take our money, you rent to come see us.
All right, so we're going to move on to my segment, which is called Scattergories, which is a quick question segment. I have a little deck of cards, and I
Ooh.
pull cards, and we don't know what the questions are going to be, but they're usually something fun or interesting. And our first one is last show that you went to that you weren't playing at.
The last show that I went to that I wasn't playing at was, it was like a week ago. I went and saw this band Ozma. They were really popular when I was like in high school, and they had a 20-year reunion for like their album that came out in like 2002 or something like that. So I went to that. That's when I went to the Troubadour, and I saw all their accessibility, and I was really excited. So that was the last show I went to that I didn't play at. Yes, but usually I go to so many shows. It's so weird that like a whole week has gone by and I didn't go to a show. Like the Toasters played the other day and I didn't go. But yeah, that's the last show I went to.
Excellent. Was that a ska show, or what kind of music are they?
No, they're kind of like, they call them Baby Weezer because they sound
Oh.
just like Weezer, and like a lot of people like confused them with Weezer because back in the Napster days, like there was a song of theirs that was labeled as Weezer, and so everybody would like download it, but it wasn't. It was Ozma, and so people call them Baby Weezer. And like even Weezer has acknowledged that like Ozma's a really great band, but like they do sound like a hell of a lot like Weezer. They sound just like Weezer, except they have, well, there's like a girl in their band who sings sometimes. That's like probably the only big difference. But
Can I ask a question that's not in your deck, Janice?
Whoa.
Yes.
Get
Rebel.
like wild and
I
crazy.
approve.
Are you a Weezer fan, Tara?
I like Weezer, but Max, my bandmate, is like a ride or die Weezer fan.
I want to
So
call myself Ride or Die, but I have a favorite Weezer album, and it's usually like a big debate on if it's the Blue Album or Pinkerton. And I'm curious, what is it for you?
Oh, I love Pinkerton. I wanted to cover I had this idea to cover the entire album before. I wanted to cover the whole thing. We haven't gotten around to that because like in our band we're always like, yeah, that would be cool. But then it's like put it on the pile. So far we've only gotten to do Holiday by Weezer, but yeah, I would love to one day like maybe just do a live set, like all Pinkerton, like Half Past Two.
Yeah.
Maybe on Sunday. You could do it.
Sunday. That would be a surprise. I'd be like, hey,
Right?
let's see it. Let's see
For
how good a
everyone.
musician. Yeah, the only problem is like Savannah is so much younger than all of us that she has no idea like anything we're saying half the time. We're like, yeah, like, do you like Pinkerton? And she'd be like, I don't know. What is that? You know what I mean? So we're like a super influential Weezer album. Sometimes she says things that I don't understand too. Or like we'll say words like, we'll be like skibbity. She'd be like, stop right there. Don't say skibbity. Stop. Don't say it. And we're like, oh, okay. Like we thought it was something that cool kids say. Nope. It's bad.
Nope.
How did you
Skibbity
connect
equal
with
bad.
Savannah?
What?
How did you connect with Savannah with her being so much younger than you?
Well, our producer, David Irish, at his recording studio, her like high school band, TI-85, they recorded an album at Pot of Gold. And like I said, we were looking for a drummer. Like Ryland was doing stuff with us, but like he couldn't be our permanent drummer or whatever. And he was like, I just remember going into the studio and he was like, hey, I think I found a drummer for y'all. And it's so, okay, hold on, I'll finish this story first. He's like, I think I found a drummer for y'all. He's like, but hear me out. We're like, okay. He's like, she's 16. I was like, no, 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 we're not, because we thought we were going to Europe that summer. And I was like, there's no way I'm taking a 16-year-old to Europe. I'm not taking a 16-year-old to the UK. I can't be responsible for that. And he was like, she's so good. She's so good. Watch her play. You'll be floored. And I was just like, are you for real? Like, but he was right. Like, we were like, wow, she's really good. And it was so funny because like before when we were looking for a drummer, I was like manifesting. And I told my bandmates, I was like, if I could choose a drummer, they would be younger. I didn't mean that young, not younger. Femme or female. I was like queer. I would love like these are all the things I want, right? And then like I don't know, like I said, I was like, I feel like I manifested Savannah. I tell her that all the time. I'm like, I dreamed about you. I was just like, this is the person I want, and then here you were. You know what I mean? So like it does feel like destiny. Now she's 19, so she's been with us for like these 3 years. But it's just so funny because she's so young, but she's so good. And I feel like I'm on a ticking clock with Savannah because she's so good that like and her whole life, her whole career is ahead of her. I'm just waiting for somebody to notice her and just scoop her up, you know, because there's so many great things about her. She's so much fun to watch. Besides being like a really good drummer, it's just like I want to watch Savannah play drums, you know. She's got a lot of charisma. Riz, as the young kids
Riz.
say.
The
She's
Riz.
got Riz. She would like just like stop, don't say that. We embarrass her when we do stuff like that because she's just like, don't do it. But yeah,
Don't be cringe.
yeah, very, yes. It's like Ohio Riz, right? That's bad. Ohio Riz equal bad.
I'm learning new stuff today. Thank you.
Yeah, Ohio Riz equal bad. If you put Ohio in front of any of these words, Ohio literally means like cringe. My husband's from Ohio and it pisses him off that that's what that means. He's
Yes.
like, really? He's like, I've had to deal with that my whole life and now it's like an actual thing.
That's an actual thing.
Yeah, Ohio equals like cringe, like bad, like
I know a lot of people who feel that way.
yes, no, that's what I'm
I live in
saying.
Michigan, so I understand.
So, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I went really off with the side card. With
That's
the
okay. That's how we go here. It's kind of all over the place. But I am
Yeah.
excited about this question because I already know the answer. Do you have any pets? I've seen a little one
Oh
teetering
yeah.
around behind you.
I do. I have 2 dogs. That was Busy, and she really wanted out. She's old, and yeah. So I have a little miniature Schnauzer. Her name is Business, and but we call her Busy. And then we used to have 2 dogs, and one was Party, and one was Busy. Party, R.I.P. Party dog. So we had Party and we had Business. But my new puppy Bruno. My kids named him after watching Encanto like 1,000 times. He's a puppy, so I'm still getting used to him because I'm so used to Busy. She was old and like I know all of her. Like she's just not as energetic as Bruno. I'm always like, calm down to this puppy, you know. And then we have a fish tank that doesn't have a fish, but it has a snail in it. The fish
Snails are
died, but the
cool.
snail
Yes,
lived
yes,
on.
yes.
Yes,
Does this
and
now have a name?
yeah. What would your kids
Is
name
it
a
Turbo?
snail?
Is it Turbo?
No, it's Gary
Very.
Very
from
important.
SpongeBob. Yeah, what would you name if you were a child? What would you name your snail
Gary.
that lives under the water? Yeah, Gary. His name is Gary. And that's it. That's it right now. You know, I wanted to think that I had more pets, but I don't. Just those three.
Can
Well,
I say hi real quick? Come on, Ox, hurry up.
No! What's up? Yeah. Oh, now you're a blur.
You're blurry.
Sorry. I used to be in bed.
Hi, Axe.
He's throwing down. Like he just opened up the pit.
For real.
Good.
Actually,
He always does.
we went to a show in Scranton last week, Happy Ska Day show, and there were a bunch of bands playing and a bunch of heavier ska bands, like ska core bands.
Yeah.
Ox has to go in the pit, and I like try to hold him back, but he is a loose cannon and he will fight his way free. And he got kicked in the side because they were like
Oh my
kicking.
gosh.
Yeah. I hope he
But
learned, but
survived.
he tells me he didn't, and he's gonna be back in the pit. So
You know what?
don't
That
doubt
just means he's building up to it. Yeah.
my heart.
Janice, you got
He'll
one?
just duck faster next time.
Yeah.
Janice, you got
Okay.
a question?
I do.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
What's the nicest or funniest or just weirdest gift you've ever gotten from a fan?
Ooh.
The nicest or funniest or weirdest
Or
gift-
traumatic.
or traumatic.
Like
Stop
if
it.
was your
Eric,
ear? Maybe it was your ear. and-
Stop.
Oh, it's gonna-
What's this? You love the trauma. You must watch a lot of Bravo. I'm trying to think. Like, one time this little girl gave me it was a sheet of paper, and she drew, like, for every song, every one of our songs, that was like, I don't even know how many little things, but she drew like a little thing, like, for every song. And then it was fun because we were in the van and we were trying to like guess what each one was, you know what I mean? Like for Curse the Universe, there was like a crystal ball and stuff like that. I thought that was really cute. So like, but it was a sheet of paper, and like it was colored in with crayons, but you could tell she was a fan because it had all this stuff. But and then at Supernova this year, a fan made a puzzle out of one of our pictures and gave it to us.
wow.
Because on tour, because Savannah is a teenager, we don't often go out and do things like after shows and we puzzle. We time ourselves and we'll stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning on tour, like finishing a 1,000-piece puzzle. But and we like document this like all tour long. And so yeah, a fan like made us a puzzle of us and gave that to us at Supernova. And that was really, really fun because we were like, we're putting together this puzzle and it's like, who has Luis's eye? Or like, I found David's nose, and we're putting together this puzzle. But it was so clever and it was so sweet and nice to get that. But yeah, I don't know.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think those are like some of the good ones.
Those are awesome.
Before Eric
Hmm.
wraps it up, we had another fan thing come in while we
Oh.
were talking.
Okay.
And this person wanted us to say that they love you and cannot wait to play with you one day. This is Benny from The Boy Detective. I don't know if you
Oh yeah, I do. I just heard about that band and I like listened
Okay.
to their stuff. They're really good.
they really want to play with you.
We love them.
So we're delivering that message that I just got.
Like I said, I'm a big believer in manifesting the future. So Benny,
There you
from The
go.
Boy Detective, we're gonna play a show together. You
They're
see.
actually one of our favorite bands as a team, I think. So that was kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Well, it's awesome. Yeah, I listened to I forget, like they were on a podcast or something recently, and that's how I heard about them.
Oh,
So
they were on the Upbeat recently, and I know
yeah,
you're friends with Matt. Yeah.
yeah. I'm really
We
yeah, we're
actually
friends.
interviewed Anthony a couple of weeks ago, and he told us about the time when he was in Half Past Two, but you were not.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I was in the band for like 2 years, and then they had a singer, Lindsay,
Yeah, he was
who
like,
was
I
in the
never
band.
got to be in the band with Tara.
Yes, I know. Well, we've actually Anthony has filled in um like with us while
Okay.
I've been in the band. So we have played together, but technically he wasn't in the band, but I mean we have played together, so there's
There you
that.
go.
Oh look, here's something that a fan gave me too. Melody.
Ooh,
Aw,
Care
Yeah,
Care
oh, it's
Bears.
a Care Bear. I looked over and I was like, oh
That's so
wait,
sweet.
Burrito gave me this.
Oh, we know
Yes.
Burrito.
Oh,
Yeah.
burrito.
Oh, I
Burrito
have
gave me this.
Jacob, right? Is that Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He brought me this
Oh,
at a
I
show
love
not too
him.
long
He's
ago.
so
I
much fun.
know. I love
He
him
comes
too.
to Creative Fest every year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And this year, I think he dressed as like Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes.
I love like he shows up to shows with like a stack of posters all the time. He's like, okay, and sign this and sign this. And I brought my own markers. I'm like, you are like, how long have you been holding this tonight? Like, that's nuts.
That's
I
a
love that though.
fun guy.
Well, thank you so much for being on with us tonight, Tara. What so tell everybody where they can find you guys and on the internet or what you have coming up and promote yourself for a little bit here.
We're on social media as Half Past Two Ska, like everywhere. That's on Instagram, Half Past Two Ska. If you're looking for us on Facebook, it's Half Past Two Ska, and our website is Half Past Two Ska. And we are coming to a city near you if you are on the West Coast this January with Mustard Plug and Voodoo Glow Skulls. We're doing a West Coast tour together. And then in March, we are on tour with Kill Lincoln and Omnigon, starting in Florida, like the Gulf area, and then going up north to the Northeast. So if anybody's in those areas, and we have other stuff too that's not announced.
Oh,
But yes, I know. So come and see us. But if you're around, please come see us in January or March. Also, people in Orange County, we have a huge local show on that January tour. It's Saturday the 18th at Garden Amp, and it's 2 stages. And we're adding Bucko 9 and like a bunch of local bands.
That
So
lineup looks so sick. I wish I could be there.
I know. It's like it's funny because we don't have big shows like that, like ska shows. Like the East Coast, we get so jealous because there's like Croydon and Supernova, there's Fest, there's all these like things where like ska is just happening, and we don't have that over here. So it's funny to like have that show and people be like, I kind of want to fly out for that. We're like, really?
Yeah.
Like we had Back to the Beach a few years ago, and that was as close as we got. And someday we'll get it together, and there'll be some
Well,
big
this may
ska
be
things.
the
But
start of it because there's some great bands on that lineup.
yeah, actually,
I don't remember
I
them all, but I
know.
know the Goodwin Club, Matamoska, obviously Mustard Plug, Voodoo Glow Skulls, and Half Past Two.
Yeah, and Bucko
Forget who
Nine's
else, but
playing,
Bucko
and
Nine.
there's so many. I'm like, my brain is so bad at like remembering all that. But yeah, there's a lot.
And I heard it's outdoors. Is that right? Is it outdoors?
Yeah, Garden Amp is outdoors.
Really rad.
Yeah, and yeah, it should be good. I mean, I like playing at Garden Amp, and yeah, it'll be good. So yeah, just come out to those shows. It'll be fun. That's what I have to say about that.
well, thank you. And to our listeners, it's your friendly reminder that if you want a scene going on in your state, you actually have to show up to the shows. So if you
True.
want a scene, be part of that scene. Go to a show, buy some merch, get an autograph with a pile of posters.
Yes, do that.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you
Good
so much.
night. It was so
Great
much
talking to you.
Bye.
fun.
Hope
Yeah,
to
Thank
see
thank you so
you.
much, Sarah.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Here we are, stranded in the rain. It's okay, you like the rain, oh yeah. We'll be soaked, our clothes, our bones. And if you change your mind, well, I'll be by your side, by your side. Have another break for the hypocrite, we exist in anarchy. Society was built like this. Break down, barrier for entry. Battles that they never recognize. It multiplies, and when they see a puddle, we see a moat. Forget sympathy, we want equity. But no one picks up the phone. All alone. Have another break for the hypocrite, we exist in anarchy. Society was built like this. There's strength in community. It's anarchy. Oh, to exist. To exist.
When something can't be fixed, then the question is what can we build instead? Language evolves and it's our responsibility to keep up with it. Disabled people deserve to be seen. We should be supporting each other.
When something can't be fixed, then the question is what can we build instead? Exist.